recent past. So starting off on a high note, today we're talking about this book called Ikigai. We're gonna divide this into a few sections so that we have a little bit of a structure around it, right? So we're gonna talk about what is the book about. We're gonna talk about a little bit of the concept without giving any spoilers. We're then gonna talk about the things that we like and the things that we dislike about the book. And at the end, we're just gonna say whether we recommend it or not. So it's gonna be pretty simple. It's gonna be fast. So let's get started. From the land of the rising sun that gave us some beautiful words like karaoke, senpai, origami, comes another beautiful concept, ikigai. Ikigai talks about the intersection of what you love, what the world needs, what you get paid for, and what you're good at. And in the middle of this passion, the mission, the vocation, and the profession lies your ikigai. So in this book, we are taken into a journey on the islands of Japan along with our authors who are looking for the secret to a long and happy life. When they travel to Japan, they realize that there are certain common traits among all the people who live consistently to be above 100 years old. Now this book derives its inspiration from the islands of Okinawa in Japan, where 24.5 people out of every 100,000 inhabitants is more than 100 years old. The book kind of dives into the concept of understanding what makes them different from the rest of us and how they can lead such long and prosperous lives. What the authors have tried to do is try to live like them, try to behave like them, try to understand the way that they think about life, so that we can use it in our lives as well and try to understand what makes them much happier, much more vibrant, even when they're more than 80 years old. So this concept of Ikigai tells us to find that one thing that really drives us for the rest of our lives. The concept of flow. So what is flow? Flow is essentially when you are doing something, you're so involved in it that you don't even hear anyone else coming into the room where you're doing something. That is when you are in the state of flow. When you're doing something in a state of flow, it stops feeling like work and it is just something that you are completely engrossed in, and your entire attention is only focused on doing that one thing. That is the thing that you should strive to find, because as soon as you find that, you automatically live a much more stress-free life. Nothing seems like work anymore. You are doing what you want to do every single day at every single moment. And I think that is the beauty of this book. The hope that it kind of instills in you, that all you have to do is find that one thing that really motivates you, and it's not really that hard to find once you go through some of the techniques that they have mentioned in this book as well. This book kind of helps us understand how we get caught in this circle of anxiety and frustration over things that we have very little control over. There is a lot of experience that has been combined into this book, and it is definitely one of the great pieces of work that we have seen in a long while. What do I like about these books? The book talks about real experiences of people, and I think that has become more and more rare. Most of the times you read these motivation books and you feel like, it's just saying the same thing again and again and again. But Ikigai is a little bit different. The authors have tried to kind of understand what these people are going through, try to understand mentality, try to interact with leading psychologists in these domains and talk about different kinds of concepts that are built up into this book. And it all makes you kind of understand how Eastern psychology is so much different from Western psychology, and you kind of get involved into the life of these people. Another thing that is super nice about this book is that it is extremely simple to read. It is made to understand. So no matter what your level in English is, you will be able to understand this book. And of course, I'm sure this book has been translated into many languages as well, so you could probably pick up one of those as well if you're not feeling very confident. I heard this book on Audible, and just because they were talking about so many different kind of experiences and so many different interviews with people, it was really interesting to listen to this book. So if you have any kind of like audiobook software, like I use Audible, so if you have something like that, then I would really recommend listening to this book. What I did not like about this book. So I think the one thing that is bad about this book is sometimes the hype is way too much for any book to meet. Ikigai was a concept that was such a hype a few years ago. I was very excited to read this book. But at the end of the day, this is not going to change your life. It is a book that is very well researched. It is a book that has, you can clearly see that there was a lot of time and energy spent into creating this book. But it is not a book that will live up to this insane hype of the concept, because the concept of Ikigai itself is so strong that it is very hard to kind of surpass that. So anything that you say after explaining Ikigai is a little underwhelming compared to the whole concept itself, because your imagination kicks in. So what's the verdict? From me, for me, my personal verdict, I would give this book definitely a thumbs up. It's a good book to read when you're feeling a little bit lost, you're kind of drifting through life and you're trying to figure out, hey, what is the next thing that I want to do? It is very uplifting and it's a very positive feeling when you read the book. So go ahead, go for it and tell me what you guys think about the book as well. I wanted to end this time with a small question. So what was the last thing that made you happy, and was that your Ikigai? Tell me what you think in the comments below, and if you like this video, if you like this review, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel. I'm just gonna keep doing more of these because hey, we're all at home, we're all reading something or the other. Why not talk about it? I'll see you later. Bye bye. In the book is a very nice example of an animal who is in the field and who is tied to a pole. So the pole is on the center of the field and the animal is tied around it. And let's call it a horse. The horse is tied around it and the horse wants to go away from the pole. But as soon as he reaches a certain limit, the horse has to come back because the rope is not long enough, and the horse is feeling extremely anxious. So it keeps walking and it thinks that, oh, I'm doing a lot of work because I'm now walking around this pole in the circle, and the more the horse walks around the circle, the more that rope obviously gets tied around the pole, and the horse, instead of running away from its stress, its anxiety and the pole, it begins to come closer and closer to the problem, and the more he walks, the less he can walk because the circles are getting smaller and smaller. And that causes him even more anxiety. And that is kind of a very nice example that I thought makes a lot of sense. So sometimes the solution is not really thinking about it, and also the solution of a problem is not really just trying to do whatever you can. Sometimes you have to stop and be patient and wait for somebody to untie you from the pole, or at least chew through the rope. You know, think of something different. Don't just walk around in a circle. We should have called it a donkey. Maybe it was a donkey. I'm not sure.